Stadia players, welcome to episode 30 of the Sounds of Stadia podcast. I'm joined by my beautiful co-hosts in the cubes. We've got Richie to my lower bottom quadrant, and I've got Tom to my right. Welcome everybody. If you're new to the show, this is your weekly podcast coming to you every Monday, where we bring you the Stadia news, breakdown of everything gaming, and pretty much just talk shit about things. Well, welcome to the show. Gentlemen, say hello.
Hello.
Hello there.
Hello there. You always is this specifically Obi-Wan related? Hello there, Richie?
No, I think
this
it's
your thing?
It's just stuck,
I think
hasn't
it's
it?
yeah, I think I'd said it like one episode because you need to say something and then it's just stuck.
That's
Hello
true.
there.
I've just
I feel like that
now.
one. Yeah, that one was very distinctly more Alec Guinness than I'm. Sorry, Ewan McGregor than I'm familiar with. Yeah.
General Kenobi.
I mean, I wasn't trying.
Imagine a podcast with General Grievous just coughing. Kenobi. Anyway, this is not a Star Wars podcast. We could hope one day and talk shit about Star Wars for ages as well. This is the Sounds of Stadia podcast, as I mentioned. If you are new to the show and you're joining us as part of the free 2-month pro setup that we've got going at the moment, we basically talk about all things Stadia. If you want to keep in the loop with us, subscribe over on YouTube for our weekly videos. Follow us on podcast services. You can get the episode, and we do a lot of other stuff in between, which we actually might as well get into with the housekeeping, gentlemen. We've been busy. We've got busy things on the horizon. Number one, Tomb Raider finale.
Yeah, we have.
If you are just tuning in, the final episode of our 12-part mini-series of our Tomb Raider Definitive Edition Let's Play is now up on YouTube. You may have missed it because YouTube screwed us over with the notification. So just to give you a peek behind the scenes of the curtains, the finale was supposed to go live on Saturday, as the other previous 11 episodes have, but for the grand finale, the one you want everyone to take note of, nothing happened. So it is out there live. We did tweet it out, which is why it's ever more important to follow us on our social feeds, so you do get kept in the loop with these little things when they do go slightly off skew. Secondly, sorry, what was that, Richie?
Yeah, I was just gonna say YouTube is notoriously finicky at times, and it just didn't send the notification.
It's like a shit fireworks show, isn't it? You go to the display and it's like, done.
Yeah, but it is up.
Thanks,
it
YouTube.
is exciting. We had a fantastic time, and yes, we give some much needed appreciation, I think, for the creators, developers, artists, and many people who worked on that game as well. So tune in, check us out, and join us for the finale. And if not, rewind. It's all on demand. It's all out there live. Binge watch it Netflix style. Forget Tiger King. Who needs that? You need 3 English blokes going through the adventures with Lara on the island of Yamatai.
Yamatai!
Yamatai!
That's what happens when you dress really fancy and it's too tight around the neck.
Yamatai. Wow.
I apologise.
It's one of these shows again.
It's one of these shows again, yeah. We may have been up drinking late on a Patreon exclusive show last night. Yeah. We may be tired, some of us, and slightly hungover maybe, but
it's actually his fault.
I've got my energy juice, my magic elixir.
Cup of tea.
Richie's got a cup of tea, and Tom's
water.
got the purest form of rehydration. There,
Stay
Tom.
hydrated.
Yeah.
Hail
Stay
hydration.
hydrated, everybody. Hail hydration. That's it. If you are new to the show, get used to these shit puns, because that is the bedrock of what we base.
This is the show. Everything else is just
superfluous. This is the show. Everything else just kind of gets stuck to it along the way.
Shit D-list comedy, this is at its finest.
Speaking of getting stuck to things, actually, like a nice cheesy pizza, Tom, we have to admit out to the audience that another one of us has fallen to the Get Packed pizza bet we put on 2 weeks back now. The time has came that your date of release has passed.
It has. So I predicted last Thursday, and Thursday has come and gone. So here I am, watching my ship slowly sink into the cheesy mess that is the pizza bed.
I'm still standing, but find out if I'll get my pizza next week.
Will Richie have his crust stuffed? You'll have to tune in to find out.
We are still waiting for a release date from them, though. So
yeah, that is a fair point.
It'll be coming soon till it's out.
Yeah, we've actually got a question which we'll get onto in a moment that pertains to. I need to keep pausing the name because I know one of these times I'm going to say the wrong game, which you'll know when we get to it.
Yeah.
Third housekeeping we've got in there for you: the Super Stadia Saturday event number 2, the sequel. is out next Saturday. I say it's out like it's a DVD release.
Yeah.
The show will be going live next Saturday with content creators from around the globe coming together to celebrate all things Stadia, showcase many, many games, probably beers, parties, lots of chats, lots of podcasts going on. But we've got all the content creators are pulling together once again in our time of need, our isolated nations out there all around the world. We're going to be pulling together to bring you some just some fun and laughs, hopefully, and some interesting topical points of conversation throughout the day. So I believe it goes live at 10 a.m. UK time.
That's correct.
Being promoted from the get-go by our friend Dan over at Stadia Source. And I think throughout the day, every other hour, essentially, or half an hour, we're going to be rotating and jumping between different content creators. So keep your eyes peeled on Twitter. Check it out, and we will be bringing you a show of some sort. We haven't quite figured out what yet. There may be pizza, but one thing we can guarantee... Maybe you'll be eating free pizza. But one thing we can certainly guarantee is it'll be us three having a laugh, messing around, and
maybe this time we'll make Richie draw a penis on himself.
Yeah,
Social distancing.
We'll reach through the camera, off to the side, the pen, and draw it on him like that. And then, final bit of housekeeping for the week. Our hashtag Stadia 4-player is still live as well. So, Tom, you threw down the gauntlet last week.
I did.
You put out a challenge to everyone. Do you want to just recap what that challenge is for people?
Yeah, so now that Stadia has effectively opened the floodgates to everybody in the world, what I did was I wanted to set a personal challenge for everybody who's currently in the ecosystem. Find 3 friends, get them to sign up, get them to try the platform, try a game, maybe Destiny 2, maybe another title that you want to play with them, something like Spitling's 4-player, and just get a screenshot of you playing with your 4 new friends. Just get them in, get them talking about it, and then retweet it with hashtag Stadia4play. Obviously, pun intended, but we just thought we'd have a bit of a laugh with this. We've had some great reception from the community so far. You can check that out. Just search for the hashtag Stadia4play and just take a look and see what's going on. You might even pick up some new friends that way as well. But do engage. This is a community event. It is just for fun. We want to see the community grow, first of all. But for that to happen, we obviously need you guys to also help with that too. And I think the best way of doing it is reach out to those closest to you, and we can get a snowballing effect going on from there.
Yeah, I've been rubbish at this one. I've got no one so far. Do better than me, internet. Do better than me. The current record so far is held by myself, so I want to see someone beat that. I now have 8 people who've joined since it's gone free. So get on it. Beat that number.
Tremendous effort. You're pulling the weight for Richie there, Tom.
Technically, Tom, your fiance has Stadia because of me, because I give her a buddy pass.
That is true.
I'm taking that I'm counting that as 1.
Everybody gets 1.
Yeah,
but I have seen you tweet out a few things of the friend lists getting longer and longer, people playing, and it's great to see. And the community, as we've all knew along, is going to grow and grow with us. But this is a great chance. It's free for 2 months, everybody. Get out there, promote it, talk about it. Why wouldn't they want to trial it? It's free. Jump in and play those games. And then that is the end of all of our housekeeping. We do have one correction to make from last week, which we want again. So we'll throw it over to Richie for Richie's Retcon ritual. Have you thought of the theme tune yet, Richard?
Because we've only actually used it once. This is the second time it's come about. So I just forgot about it, to be honest. So last week, our own Chris made a mistake.
Myself and Tom made a mistake.
Okay, yourself and Tom.
I started it.
I rolled with it.
I'm exempt from this mistake because I don't have a clue about wrestling at all. So
neither do I, apparently.
So what was it, Chris? Randy Orton came out of nowhere. Oh no, you said John Cena came out of nowhere when you doing the John Cena hand thing, which is meant to be John Cena, you can't see this.
You can't see me.
That's correct. So just to clarify, yes, John Cena is the you can't see this. Randy Orton is the one who comes out of nowhere. I don't know why I placed that name to that particular special move. Yes,
you picked a wrestling move and a wrestler.
Yes, pretty much. I do know what they are.
Move? You can't
The left and the right halves of your brain didn't quite connect on that one, did they? Unfortunately, but it happens. Shit happens. But hey.
Shit does happen. The worst part is when I edited the video, I put it in the same GIF. So even when I was detached from the live show, and I edited it, still fucked it up. Yep. So there we go. So that drops us into the Retcon
behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes mistakes. This show is filmed in front of a live studio audience. Mistakes may happen, even in editing, apparently. But yes, that is the end of the Retcon ritual. If we do make any mistakes or we have any clarifications or corrections that need happening, we implore you to send us in the comments or tweet us, because we are only human. Whether it's Stadia related or not, we can only retain so much information up in here. So we do appreciate you giving us some honest criticism and feedback. Whether we like it or not, we'll take it on the chin. But yes, so Mr. Tom, would you like to get us started with the usual segment?
Absolutely, the super sexy special Stadia story segment, aka the news.
The McDonald's thing.
I was thinking the other day,
trying to steer alongside the copyright there a little bit, Chris.
I was thinking the other day about how we completely failed to sync up with the news. I'm going to blame latency on Discord.
There is definitely a latency matter, I've noticed. When I say it here, you're always like about a second behind, literally a second behind. So it's definitely a latency element to it. But
a few hundred milliseconds can just knock you out. So it's Discord, because we've managed it every time we've been in the room together.
The news. Just a 1 minute delay on my end this time round. Dial-up internet.
Damn you!
If
you have
only.
To run a crank to keep it going.
Can you tell we all seem a bit more delirious today? I don't know why, but there's definitely more giggling going on.
Yeah, isolation's got us down. It's got us starved of oxygen.
I think if next week we're having some drinks and stuff, we don't go to 3 in the morning, because I've basically become nocturnal, but I'm at work at 8 o'clock every day as well.
Nice.
So I'm on about 5-6 hours sleep a night.
Yeah, it's tough.
Like the last 2 weeks.
It's tough.
Yeah. And alcohol helps, it appears. However, that is not one of the stories in our news segment this week. But in at number 1, Stadia confirms that's not all about the base. In fact, they're moving away from that brand image. So, first story of the week comes part of one of the community blog updates that we got. And to start off with the first opening paragraph they dropped in, last week Stadia opened up access to Stadia to everyone in our 14 launch countries. So, not everyone. Some of you may be wondering if this is Stadia Base. While we've decided to move away from that name, we're very excited that Stadia is now free and open to everyone who wants to create an account in our supported markets. Now, we touched on this last week, gentlemen.
Yeah.
And we theorised whether it was or wasn't base. But it's weird that they've came out and specifically said now we're moving away from that name.
I've got a feeling that might be due to content creators, because I imagine a lot of us reached out to them going, is this base, so let's just put it out there that this is base, it's no longer called base.
Shut up, stop asking us questions.
I was going to say like an annoying child tugging at the side of the t-shirt or something.
You're kind of right, Tom, but I think more in the, yes, this is base, like, now you know. Otherwise they'll just keep getting it from like, probably been having it for months. When's base coming out? When's base coming out? Is this base? Is this base? Is this base?
Yeah, I mean, to no surprise, if they did call it base last year at GDC, so we're just surely following the little breadcrumbs of news that we have got, and we just wanted some clarification. So this kind of signals that base is not a thing. It's dead. They're probably not going to refer to it again in future marketing.
It's just Stadia.
Yeah, I think I was saying last week how I felt that maybe the idea was to use base as a branding right from out the gate to distinguish between base and the premium, the pro edition, the premium version.
Mm-hmm.
But now that they don't need that branding, they might have always been the plan to basically jettison it.
Yeah, it's just free tier and pro tier, isn't it? That's essentially what we've got. No.
And just I think it's probably in the initial marketing, we need a way to distinguish between the two.
Well, the thing that concerns me with regards to the marketing is something that I know we want to discuss, and that's the fact that if this really is the free version of Stadia now and it's here to stay, that's pretty much a fall flat on its face sort of launch, really. Because, yeah, it's great that it's come out at this time while we're all isolated. It's probably the best time to actually captivate people. But after this, like, what happens next?
Yeah.
They just didn't tell us.
Yeah, in the pre-show, we discussed it saying, like, is that the marketing push then? Like, we said last week, it's great PR. It's a fantastic proposition to get out there now while everyone is under isolation and they're stuck in their homes, and it gives everyone a really good, no barriers entry point to some great, amazing games, a brand new platform, but more importantly, for free. But is this really the push? That's it? So now, once the 2-month free trial ends, I've got to imagine there's some big push for this is Stadia free. This is Stadia at its core for everyone who wants to get in on it. I don't want to feel like it just goes out without a bang in like 2 months' time when it goes, right, your trial's up, half the population drop off, and we're back to pro and something no one's really heard about. Is it base?
They've almost just done it on a whim. That you think for like, because this, we were saying months ago that was like, the pro version, the founders thing, is almost a soft launch of it, and that base will be the hard launch. So you want, for me, I'd want to dial up the marketing for that. Get it in everyone's mind when it's coming out and what it is.
See, this is where we've got to take a break here, guys, because really, it's these masterminds with these 5-head thoughts going on over there. Like, they're having these huge, big brain moments. What they're doing is they're saving all of the marketing budget to absolutely secure us those AAA games from those really big publishers. And we're going to be stormed by thousands and thousands of games just like that. They're going to be coming out left, right, and center, and you're going to have no idea what's going on because they saved the marketing money. That's the play. That's the huge 200 IQ play right there.
I mean, your Google. I don't think marketing budget is that big thing to ask for your games console launch.
Yeah, actually, we haven't added it in the news story, but it kind of links in with what you're saying there, Tom. But I don't know if you guys both saw it. There was something from, I think it wasn't investors. It was something to do with the stock exchange,
Nasdaq and Forbes. Yeah. Oh no, Nasdaq and Reuters. Sorry.
And there's a statement clipped out, which I presume was from Phil Harrison, saying that there's 450 games coming to Stadia this year, which seems like something was possibly lost in translation there.
The wording wasn't so much this year, it was 450 in 2020 and beyond is the wording that he used for it.
Right.
So you could have used any number.
Yeah, there were 2 big articles that came out, one from Nasdaq, which is obviously very largely focused on the stock exchange and looking at how that's affecting Google's stock. And the way it's changing on the market, and also from Reuters as well, which is, you know, a much more well-known source. But both articles sort of cite each other as being like the, you know, it's a little bit, he said, she said. So it's sort of like this infinite loop of news going back and forth. And we talked about it last night on our Patreon discussion, but 450 plus games is almost sort of like, okay, cool, but is that really happening? Because I'm worried that Phil Harrison is spouting stuff just to get people paying attention and
if you go back to that 120 they said for this year, the wording they used was tracking, not guaranteed. So that's tracking. That means that they're looking to get them in. They've probably made contacts with the developers, the publishers to get them on, but there's no guarantee there.
Yeah.
And we were saying last night, 450. It seems insane.
Yeah.
For
it's a big jump.
Because that's how it was kind of worded. But if you look at the word, it's like, for 2020 and beyond, then you kind of go, okay, that means you've probably made touch base with all the publishers to get these games.
I'd expect that's over maybe like a 3-year cycle. I can't see it being pushed out to like 5 years, but 3 years is more plausible for 450.
Yeah. But there's a lot of stuff. All games might be getting ported and stuff so that this won't be 450 new games. No. This will be 450 games.
Yeah, and I think one other thing we've got to consider here as well is like we don't know anything about these games yet. So yeah, as you said, Richie, they could be older games, but like I've always stated, like we've said, we've been very vocal about it on the podcast before. If you're going to make big bold claims like that, you need to give the people who've invested in the product some sort of roadmap as to what we can expect. And I know it's difficult when you've got things going through licensing, publishing, distribution, agreements with other marketing platforms and so on. But the reality is, if you're going to make a claim like that, when that's the first thing we've heard about it, I feel like you need to give something,
bit of context.
Yeah, a bit of context. Exactly. We're not asking for the world, okay? We're not asking for you to literally say like, right, here are all the titles of the 450 games that are coming and when you can expect them. We're not after that. But what we want to sort of hear is like, who is developing? Like, who have you got on board? How many titles, perhaps? Give us some sort of context as to the variety of titles we're getting too. What are your thoughts, Chris?
I think even if we look at the games, the 120 that was initially announced from him, we're nearly at the end of April now. So we've passed the third of the year, and these games have been coming out at a much better pace. I wholeheartedly agree with that. But can we, like, how heavy is the second half of the year going to be stacked at this point?
I think it's going to be, well, if we've
stacked on stacked.
Yeah, we've touched on it several times with like from the GDC talk from Destiny saying it took them about 6 months to port with very hands-on on Google. If we're taking that as a rough 6 months to a year to get games ported, I'd imagine that the back end of the year is going to be fairly heavily loaded. Just that's when the games will be available to release on the platform.
Yeah, I mean,
Google seem to just be pushing things as they're ready.
I mean, we know they are taking part in the IGN Summer of Games event as well, alongside Amazon and a bunch of other ones. So hopefully, June, we're going to know a lot more about whatever these games in the pipeline are, and we should get some big titles alongside that. What pertains quite well to that story that we're talking about in terms of like marketing budgets and outside promotion, we've got it as one of the questions. One of our Patreon supporters wrote in and asked, when do you think Get Packed will be out? Which links to our pizza bed as well. But also, do you think the game on other platforms, you may have seen it moving out from Team 17, who were famous for their Overcooked franchise, that got a release date of the 28th of April this week. So for better or for worse, what impact do you think it's going to have on Get Packed? Because they very much look like similar games, but with us just discussing their marketing and strategy and getting dates out there for roadmap, that is one that is going, for better or for worse, is going to have some kind of cross-pollination, right? Because I've seen it on my own Facebook feed, advertisements for moving out several times on some PlayStation channels that I follow.
See, I haven't seen anything from moving out. The only things I've heard about from moving out actually from you. So I'm not seeing that. I've seen a lot more from Get Packed, but there again, I do follow them on Twitter. So.
Yeah. I think the algorithms again are kicking in here a little bit, and they're probably Team 17 are probably pushing financially more on the back of their game, and the reality is like Overcooked was overwhelmingly successful on platforms as a fun,
awesome game.
Yeah, absolutely. But Team 17 also has the branding associated with it. Obviously, a classic video games company, Worms. Yeah. So people are going to see that. Oh, the guys who made Overcooked. Oh, the guys, Team 17. I know the name Team 17. So moving out, yeah, go on. Another fun party game. I'll give that a shot. And it has me concerned for the guys behind Get Packed because they're a smaller British studio being pushed by British publishers. But they don't have quite as much clout behind them. And that worries me for them. Like, I'm still going to purchase the game and it's going to be an absolute blast. We've seen the videos they're dropping, but my other concern is that a lot of people are going to look at these two games and they're going to go, "Oh, it's Stadia's just ripping off other games now," or something like that. Yeah. That's what I'm worried about.
Development for years.
Yeah, they've been in development for years, like before the platform was even announced.
I always sometimes wonder though, if you're pushing mainly through like your own YouTube channel and your own Twitter, that's not great for marketing if you're a small thing because you're only hitting the people who are following you, so the people who are already interested in the game.
Yeah. Well, the moving out stuff that I saw on the UK PlayStation Facebook page, that is a massive following of millions and millions of people in a very extent. Whereas the others unfortunately are getting their own channel stuff out there. It links back though again to not having a date. Now that date's locked in, PlayStation and other platforms can now push it and say, like, oh, you've got a week to go, you've got 10 days to go. That countdown to that hype, that excitement that builds with having a set concrete date can start. Whereas everything we're seeing from Get Packed, it's fantastic. The story mode looks great. The cooperative aspect, the elements, that it looks amazing. I don't know whether I'm playing it this side of Christmas or not. Like,
it feels soon because of how hard they're pushing at things at the moment. But I do agree, you need that date because it's people's spending habits.
Yeah.
Like, you want people jumping in day one because that gets people talking about it and it gets the word spreading.
The other thing that worries me about that with spending habits, as you say, Richie, is a lot of people who play Stadia are also multi-platformers. They've either got a PlayStation or they've got an Xbox as well sitting around. And
what you mean, like me?
Yeah, well, it's case in point. But
literally sitting around.
What I'm concerned about here is if Overcooked comes out on 28th. Sorry, not Overcooked. Overcooked's already out. As is the second one.
If moving out, if Stadia on 28th, I'm having it.
If moving out is out on the 28th, and we still do not have a release date for Get Packed by then, chances are a lot of people who are interested in these titles are going to buy Moving Out, and then what is the point of buying a game that's basically the same premise? What's the point?
No, you're totally right, Tom. You're right. If they're seeing all this marketing around these Moving Out games, these couch co-op games, and there's one available today, right now, on another console or another platform you already own,
yeah.
And then, like I said, a week later they go, "Great news! Get Packed is out now this Friday." But you've already put 10, 20 plus hours into this game, sat over here. You're right. Is that need? Is that want? It's like the way superhero movies and stuff are released as well. As they try and stagger themselves out a couple of months apart, so you're not kind of like watered down.
That for the sake of not putting a release date, they must have a release date in mind at the moment. Otherwise, they wouldn't be pushing as hard as they are. By the sake of not putting that public, you're almost undermining your own marketing efforts.
I have to say, I also question their marketing tactic with it as well. Not from the perspective of them pushing it on Twitter, like I think that's great, but the videos that are coming out on YouTube are almost very spoiler heavy. It's basically, here's the run through of the first 3 levels. Here's the run through of the next 3 levels. And
I think I watched the first one. I watched when they showed there was like destruction mode. So showing off the individual modes is fine, but when you're literally just basically doing a playthrough.
Yeah. That's what sort of has me a little bit like I appreciate like the initial the initial premiere of the game. I joined in with that. We went in there, we watched it live as it was premiering on YouTube, and we gave some feedback on that. But then when they start rolling out videos of the actual gameplay, I've sort of steered away from wanting to watch that, because at the end of the day, I don't want the game to be spoiled for me. If I'm going to buy it, I want to experience it firsthand.
Yeah, you've already sold it to me.
Yeah.
Like,
there is no need to keep doing that. I appreciate where they're coming from. They're trying to still build the hype on it and get people engaged, but you got to be careful with like the balance of spoilers as well.
So there's other ways you can do it. You can have like dev stories and stuff. Like, because at the moment it just seems like we want to push a lot of stuff out, a lot of content, just to generate interest. So just don't spoil the game. Push other stuff.
Yeah.
A 5-minute chat with like an artist or something, talk about his design philosophy for the game, stuff like that.
Yeah,
could get people interested just as well as showing them level 3 2 or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's an interesting point of like, is this Google marketing or is it Get Pack marketing, and how it's impacting basically us as players and consumers, how it's impacting our thought process. Because if us three are talking and thinking about it, average Joe on the high street who's like I said, Tom, has got Stadia sat there, has got PlayStation or Xbox or whatever sat there, and over the course of the next week, as we lead towards the release for Moving Out, they're going to be hit with the same Twitter style videos, the promotions, the campaigns. I'd go as far as to say reviews are going to start coming out. You're going to see the big review sites give this game a score, and if it does well, again, it's getting that into people's mindsets, and you don't want the needle tipping too far the other way before your game's even out. I would love them to undercut it and come out next Thursday, and Richie gets his free pizza. But more importantly, they cut the day short by 4 or 5 days, and they get out first. That's what you want. You want to jump the gun and get out there, and people then start going, Moving Out is just copying off Get Packed in the general mindset. You want to beat them to that punch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. It's a shame. I think generally Stadia's not been great at. We mentioned reviews, Chris. Most of the big sites aren't reviewing it, and you can't get decent Metacritic data for Stadia games at the moment. Yeah. And it seems like a miss, like Stadia, not the individual publishers or the developers. This feels something like Google should be being a bit more aggressive with, like things like your GameSpot, your IGNs, these big guys, to get reviews done, so you can go onto Metacritic and get a score. Because people do make purchasing decisions based on the score, what IGN have rated their game, what Metacritic's doing, what Kotaku are doing, all these sort of sites.
Yeah.
It's definitely something to think about. But hopefully, fingers crossed, it's released for next week, and we can both be playing it, and we can look back at this podcast next week and laugh it all off and shout about how great this game is and how much fun we're all having. So, I definitely want to see how they compare, though. It is always going to be this kind of Armageddon Deep Impact kind of world we live in, where I want to
do a split screen
games and then get with them. Yeah.
Great stuff.
Yeah. Second story then of the week. We'll move around. We got another update.
We did
from the community. This one pertains to pretty much just three little bullet points we got this week. No big news story. No nothing too exciting. But we got rolled out features on Stadia. 5.1 surround sound on web. We got an on-screen keyboard for when the gamepad connected to Stadia. And we got mobile connection notifications, so you'll see notifications for your connection quality whilst playing on mobile devices. Did this do anything to blow you away, lads?
Not massively. I think the thing that sort of sticks out the most to me here, and this has been picked up by some other members of the community as well, is the update number 1.45, which it actually implies that this is a sort of stopgap before a big update. So 1.4 will have rolled out big features. 1.45 is sort of like a halfway point. Here's a few extra things we've had in the work, but weren't quite ready for 1.4. And then 1.5 will hopefully see the next rendition of what it is. If you think about it from any sort of like software development, the whole, I say the whole numbers, the 1, the 2, the 3, and so on, they will be huge updates. But the 0.4, 0.5, they're sort of like chapters within it. And so on. But I think for me, I don't really see Stadia getting 5.1 surround sound on web. I mean, I don't have my computer hooked up to 5.1 surround sound. I'm sure some people do for their gaming PCs. But again, maybe it's not the right kind of audience.
It's certainly a niche thing doing it on the web.
Yeah.
I'd imagine most people have just their big 4K living room TV set up for all that kind of audio.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think that's something that they probably do need to get, because you already mentioned a lot of people have really good gaming setups, and that is where they game. So you just want to give them the same experience. It'll come. It's coming soon, probably.
Hashtag
catchphrase.
Coming soon.
Yeah.
Definitely. Mobile connection notifications, though. Having been not able to enjoy Stadia on my phone yet, I can't say anything about that, but I assume what it's going to do is it's going to tell you perhaps like what your up rate, down rate is, or what data setting you have it set to while you're playing, just so you can actually see your streaming quality or some sort of like feedback on that. That's what I'm assuming.
Yeah. It's one of those things that these little interstitial updates are going to come out, as you said, Tom, like chapters. They don't merit their own big blowout story or Twitter post or YouTube video. They're obviously saving all that marketing for Get Packed.
Yeah,
but,
it's that marketing money that they're saving by not pushing Stadia.
Yeah. The on-screen keyboard's an interesting one, because I just would assume that would be there anyway. I have noticed it not being there. Well, I don't play on mobile, so it's hard to know. That's on web anyway.
Mobile.
Yeah.
On web is it? I suppose it's just a utility feature that it's probably something they've not thought about and someone's asked about it.
Okay.
We've got on web, you just assume that everyone's got a keyboard in front of them.
Yeah.
A lot of the native Windows on-screen keyboard.
I feel like a lot of the developments so far have been coming out based on the web user or the Chrome browser, or as opposed to. I haven't seen many quality of life features come out so far for Chromecast users and controller users. Yeah. So we know that, I mean, there is speculation out there at the moment that the 1.5 is possibly going to finally bring like full Google Assistant integration. So we might see some relatively big chunky changes coming soon there, trademark. But as I've said before, the one thing that I sort of feel would be quite beneficial for the Chromecast is things like the controller sync to be better, and possibly like the remembering of Wi-Fi connections as well if you are quite mobile with it. One issue I've been having a lot lately is moving between two Chromecast Ultras. I've found that every so often, like I have issues with the controller actually connecting to the Chromecast, and as a result of that, like I end up having to reboot my internet, which is a pain in the ass, to be honest with you. And I'd rather not have to do that whenever I have these issues. So maybe it's something that needs to be addressed there too.
I think they've probably been focusing on the web version and the mobile version rather than the Chromecast version, simply because with Stadia Base, as we'll probably still keep calling it, coming out, they're going to have an influx of people who don't have the hardware.
Oh, I completely get that. I completely get that you're going to focus on the majority rather than the minority. But then there's other things in there that I want to see them do. For people who want to get it on the Chromecast Ultra, perhaps they don't want to invest in the Stadia controller. What are they going to do in terms of connectivity for other controllers, other peripherals to a Chromecast Ultra?
I agree with you. I think we did. Was it on podcast off before we talked about maybe you could almost use your mobile as a way of hotspotting it.
Well,
so you connect your controller to the mobile and that connects to your Chromecast.
There is, and like I've said before as well, there's sort of like a concern, I'll say, between like adding multiple peripherals in connections. So where you've got to like connect something to something else that has to connect to something else and so on, because it just adds latency. But the one thing that I'm still waiting to hear more on is the Chromecast Ultras have a built-in Bluetooth chipset that isn't in use currently. Or it's rather semi in use to basically say like, oh, controllers on, controllers off. Like that exists. Yeah. But other than that, the Bluetooth chipset is not doing anything else. So it'd be I'd like to see them utilize that a little bit more. We know the PlayStation DualShock controllers are Bluetooth. That's how you connect them to your phone. So it's literally the flick of a switch, get a driver on there, perhaps like a system update, and you could use your PlayStation controllers with the Chromecast. Like that's the kind of thing I want to see.
Yeah, I'm with you there, because they're part of their philosophy was play anywhere using what you've got.
Yep.
And your Chromecast Ultra, well, part of the brilliance of you having to say you come through your Chromecast Ultra is people have this already, so you want them to be able to just play using the stuff they've got lying around.
The system was always about selling the service, not selling the accessories. It wasn't about selling these. It wasn't about selling more Chromecast Ultras. It was the service and getting people into the service.
Yeah, I thought it was a brilliant part of the design philosophy. It's like, if you want to play mouse and keyboard, go for it.
Yeah.
It's the best games console for playing with mouse and keyboard, effectively.
Yeah, really. Speaking of getting people involved as well, is on the actual community thread for those 3 bullet points. The WebTech, who's a community member on there, asks if we got any news on the family library, so the ability to share games with family members and accounts. Now, I think it was Duncan actually who did some digging around on Twitter, and he found out that we've not got a locked in definitive date, but in terms of family share, Stadia quote tweeted them back. Someone called Corey Traxler asked when you're going to see the release library with family. They messaged him back saying, "Hey Corey, thanks for your tweet. While we have no specific date to share, hashtag coming soon, trademark, we plan to enable family sharing this year, and we are working diligently to get this feature out to everybody as quickly as we can. Stay tuned on our social media channels for any announcements." So that, no doubt, will probably be one of the bullet points that's going to come out in whatever update patch it may be. But it's good to see that another feature is on the horizon for sharing games. So for example, someone like you, Tom, Holly would know that just log into your account and share games across the families.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be something they're going to have to work out ultimately, because, for example, if you buy physical media, you can purchase a game, and if I want to play it, I can sit down and play a single player game, and then when I'm done with it, I can just let Holly sit down and play it. We don't have to purchase a second copy of it.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't that like part of the PS4 E3 presentation for the release? It's like, this is how you share games on PS4 and just pass them a game.
And that was a huge, I was going to say, that was a huge dig at Microsoft as well, wasn't it? Because their original plan, which sort of killed it, was the fact that they said, it's going to be tied to your account and tough shit. Yeah. Do you remember
I wonder if they thought of that behind the scenes as before, when like, let's do this after watching the Microsoft presentation.
Once upon a time, the console was never going to have a drive, was it?
The Microsoft one?
Yeah.
I think that makes more sense now going forward, having a budget version that doesn't have a disc drive.
It's interesting how it's changed in like the iteration of like the past 6 years or so on as well. Really.
I wouldn't release a console without a full stop. I'd have a cheaper version without, so like you can get it cheaper, but you're forgoing this usability.
In terms of the family support, though, this links it back with everyone comparing it to Netflix and saying, in just like with a lot of streaming services, you have one account, you have multiple profiles, and they're shared across however many devices. It's usually limited to like 4 at a time or 3 at a time. But this is what Stadia should lend itself to. So yes, Tom, you would buy the games, you would acquire the games, and Holly or anyone else in your family who wants to play the games may be limited to 1 or 2 players at a time. I'd be very interested to see how that would work if you were both playing, say, Assassin's Creed Odyssey at the exact same time, because it's coming from Stadia's servers. What impact would that have?
Or
would
even
you both
then,
be in the same world at the same time?
Well, if you say, let's say you can have like up to 4 people on a family account, right? And you have a pro subscription on it, so you've got a game like Destiny 2, and then you have those people all online playing Destiny 2 at the same time.
That's probably the functionality they're trying to figure out. How when you share a game, it probably have to be grayed out in your library or something. So
like
because
locked
it's still
out.
just one copy of the game, you can't have a situation where you got infinite copies.
But what about when a game like Destiny 2 is technically quote unquote free? Do you know what I mean? Like at that point,
in that case, yeah, HE
is it open?
Just download
yeah.
it. HE is just buy a free copy of the
so
game.
I guess what I'm trying to say with the family plan is Spitlings. Let's take Spitlings as an example. Spitlings free with Pro, right? Currently.
Yeah.
So you as the primary account holder have Pro and you have Spitlings as a Pro game. It is free. You have purchased it technically. Then within your account, then do the other people in family, can they play it at the same time as you? These are questions, as you've said, we do rightly need them answered.
Yeah, and a lot of this won't be just on Google's side, it'll be on the publisher's side, because in the end of the day, they want to sell the games. They don't want Google to just go, oh, by the way, you can just share all of our games for free. There's going to be, it's figuring out them restrictions, and
I suppose there's nothing stopping, if depending on how it works, there's nothing stopping me saying like, all right, here's my login for Stadia, or like, you know, here that's your account. Okay, I'm going to add you to my family, and then you've got access to all of my games as well.
Yeah, I actually do. I've already got your account on my Chromecast.
It's true.
From Stadia Super Saturday, so I can see.
Damn it! That's where all my gear on Destiny went.
It's on eBay.
What I would certainly love to see from this is if we get some kind of hybrid couch co-op. So imagine, Tom, you're playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. You're playing as Alexios, and they're exploring the world of ancient Greece, and then Holly jumps in on the same game, same profile. She plays as Cassandra, and because it's coming from Google's server, you can just kind of overlap the 2 characters into the same world, which Ubisoft do quite well with the Far Cry games. You can do a lot of co-op and just be able to help each other out, because essentially it's the same game overlap twice. I know it's not as easy as just copy paste, and just drag one over the top of the other. But imagine where you're now going to create co-op games out of single-player experiences just by 2 players being logged in at the same time, like some kind of hybrid couch co-op.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Maybe there's a way of like, you could almost monetize that. Like we're going, okay, you want to jump in with this person, you don't have the game, you can buy 12 hours access to join this person for 50 pence.
Extortionate, Richard.
50p?
50p? I'll pay for a Pro subscription, goddamn.
I could buy half a Freddo for that.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the alternative. If you have a Pro subscription, you can just jump in with people full stop.
Yeah.
But you can only, obviously, but it'd be restricted in this weird thing I'm conjuring up right now as I talk. But maybe it's like the restriction is like you can only play with this person, so you're paying a fee or through your Pro to access the game while this person's playing. Because if that is a couch co-op thing, you can't really go, oh, I'm going to continue on my own after you've left, because in that case you should probably buy the game.
Yeah, this is where hopefully Stadia and the new, like the platform and the new architecture is going to allow them to create new, almost not genres, but like styles of game where yes, you can have one person jump into another person's world, and because everything is just mirrored from Stadia's servers, the possibility to overlap is definitely there. And we've seen it in some of the game developer conversations that came out with GDC, saying about like the wealth of storage they've got for having like 1,000 players on one particular map. That could lend really, really well to these kind of single-player stories, and you can help each other out. And I can see games in the future that have some kind of, right, I'm stuck. Whoever's watching along with not Twitch, on YouTube gaming, I need people to help me out. I need recruitments. I need reinforcements. And then 5 people from the audience just jump into that same game.
That would be
as
brilliant.
A secondary character, and just like, there's my reinforcements. Right, guys, that's fantastic. We've overtaken that fortress. that's all they need for now. Bounce out, and they just go back to watching on YouTube.
It's like the lieutenants in Assassin's Creed. You could literally have people playing as the lieutenants. Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking that.
That'd be great.
It's an interesting thing, and maybe like you can almost have a demo of it, so you can jump in, you can play for an hour for free with these guys, and after that, then it's got okay. Do you want to start your free hour in this game? And if you play more than that, actually, how many? And then you have to buy the game or something. That's a good way of like, you can just jump in whenever using that functionality, test out the game, and if you like it, you buy it.
I think the YouTube integration is going to be huge. Like, I think it is going to be so groundbreaking when it comes out, if it's executed correctly. If it's executed on that basis, like, you could either do state sharing, which we talked about with Duncan on Spitlings, where you can jump in at the same point that somebody else is playing at and literally just sort of like asymmetrically take your path of how you would do things while they're continuing on with the stream. Or alternatively, as you've just suggested, Chris, I think that's a brilliant idea of basically saying, like, if you are trying to overcome a certain part of the game that's difficult, but there's an element of it where you could call in NPCs to help you. Like with The Division, we know that when you attack certain bases, you can call for support to assist you with it, right? But what about then if you're doing that while streaming? And just as you've rightly said, you could have people who are watching and like interacting with you just jump in and play as those NPCs. Yeah. That is groundbreaking.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I'm already getting like a smile on my face just thinking about it. Like, Tom, you're stuck on something. It lends itself really well to even just ramping the difficulty. You could genuinely make something like a fortress to overtake incredibly hard, or a boss fight to overtake. But as a streamer, a content creator, or even just playing on your own and you've got friends online, being able to just put that shout out there and say, guys, I'm stuck on this. I need help. Who's free? Who's got the time? And like you said, Richie, 3 hour-long trial or something. They click their YouTube link, bang, they're in there. Chrome browser, Stadia. Help. At the end, fireworks go off. We did it, guys, everyone. And then they all just like go about their day. They jump back into the normal chat. But you've like kind of pulled together as a community, defeated like a badass hardcore boss. And that's gaming, and that's just community gaming.
Or alternatively, asymmetrically, you could have people from chat vying to jump in as bad guys in the game as well. So literally jumping in as a boss you're fighting against and having to control their moveset or something. So they could either be on your side and sort of like slow the boss down a little bit. Perhaps there's like an AI element to it where the boss still attacks and still does things. But they have the control of using other abilities. Or alternatively, they go to town on your ass and absolutely just try to tear you apart.
It's got so much interesting functionality. Like we were talking on chat last night, Chris, about you're playing through The Last of Us, going for the platinum. And I went, oh, well, I've got the game. If you need help with the multiplayer stuff, just give us a shout. I'll jump in with you.
Yeah.
That application on this is like, okay, I'm playing. Can you just jump in? There you go. I'll jump in. Because there's so many achievements like that, especially in older games where it can be hard to get the groups together to play.
Oh yeah,
that's an easy way of going. Especially if you've got like 3 hours. Like all I need to do is play 5 games. If you jump in with us for free out with using your free hour, I'll get it.
Yeah, exciting stuff. And we hopefully will be seeing more about that around E3 this year. I'd love them to go big and be like, you know what, we've had this game in the works for a while. Here it is, or we've partnered with Rainbow Six Siege or something like that. This is how we're going to incorporate it in with the crowd share, the support play, and everything like that. But it does have me very, very excited for the potential that this holds for community streamers.
It just needs to be executed correctly. That's what we need.
It could die a death instantly if they don't land it right, and people just start looking at it. Oh, it's that thing Google tried to do. But if it can be, like I said, done correctly, it could be the potential start for something huge in gaming and community going forward.
It's unique on the biggest video platform out there.
It certainly is. Other little tidbits we've got from news this week. We had fans of Elder Scrolls Online notice that you are now able to link your Stadia account to your SO profile. That means it's more, the beta's on its way, gentlemen. We should get it.
I mean, we've always been told Elder Scrolls Online is we're going to get more information on it on Stadia when we get around to Digital E3 in June. So when we get to that point there, we'll find out more. Still no release date at the moment. Still lots of questions in the community about when it's coming, but we will find out more in June. This is just a stepping stone towards that integration.
Yeah. I almost wonder if the plans were we're going to bring out a new add-on for it, and we're going to launch that at free. And oh, by the way, it's out now on Stadia.
Perhaps.
To have that double announcement. He's the roadmap going forward for it. Oh, and by the way, you can just play this on Stadia now. Go.
Yeah.
It might be a nice way to drop it down to free to play for the base version of it as well. So go, oh yeah, you can now play it for free on Stadia. There you go.
Who knows?
As a joint promotion between Google and then Bethesda, that would be awesome. Because that will get loads of people jumping in. I've heard things about that. I've never jumped in because sometimes with MMOs, you've got that initial price point and then the subscription and then the add-ons. It can get quite costly quickly. But Elder Scrolls Online's been out for long enough. If you drop the literally just the initial version of the game, it's a nice way to try it out.
Yeah, the wheels are certainly turning on it, and hopefully we're going to get a more concrete date along with a bunch of other things as the weeks tick over. Also, speaking of new things that are coming to Stadia, we got another announcement this week. F1 2020, or Formula 1 2020, has been announced, coming to Stadia day and date with other large platform releases. Tom showcasing his best Michael Schumacher down there, up there, depending on what box he's in. Coming to Stadia July 10th, 2020, day and date. Another racing game coming to Stadia.
Yep.
What excites me, I think I mentioned pre-show, is that this is the first, I think, big sports annualized franchise that we've had day and date. So we know we've got NBA 2K and stuff that came out, but that was after the fact that they were out on other platforms.
Was Grid day and date?
No. Grid's been out for quite some time. We got Grid with season 1 with extra launch. DLC. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so it reads quite interesting. It looks like they are mixing up a little bit. So from the Codemasters blog,
Grid was released on the 11th of October 2019 across all platforms.
Well, Stadia wasn't out in October.
Yeah.
Stadia
was 19th of November.
Yeah.
Right, when we started this podcast, remember it?
we started the podcast in September.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Case in point, though, Chris. Yes, continue.
Formula 1.
Sorry.
Yes. So they've said on Codemasters website, who we know have been supporting Stadia fantastically with other games such as Grid. They've came out and said for the first time, players can create their own Formula 1 team by creating a driver, then choose a sponsor, an engine supplier, hiring a teammate, and competing as the 11th team on the grid, building facilities, develop the team over time, and drive to the top. So you get a 10-year career mode. With the choice of starting off in F2, which is the league essentially underneath Formula 1, which is the Championship League, introduction of options of season length to allow for a more exciting multiple season career. Similar to kind of FIFA, where you can start from a lower league and work your way up, rather than just have the top tier, that's all your players. It does sound quite enticing, actually. I haven't played a Formula 1 game in a long, long time. But as typical, all drivers return, all official teams, all the licensing is there, which is what I think makes this one stand out as the flagship title for Formula 1. It's also going to link into, like I said, the F2 2020 season. But more importantly, I'm just happy we're getting a day-and-date big sports title, essentially, that is going to coincide with the release on other platforms. So July 10th, it's nice to see. It's along there alongside Steam, Xbox, PlayStation. No Nintendo Switch, so it looks like Stadia's got the one-uppers again on that one. Thoughts, gentlemen? Are you big F1 fans?
No, again,
memories.
I'm not a racing guy. Stadia seems to be the place where a lot of racing titles are becoming announced, and that's great if they want to target that niche right there. But again, I'm not a big racing guy unless it is more of an arcadey style game. But this again is a realistic career mode type game. Not for me, but still, it's great to see these big sports titles coming out, and it's great again to see Codemasters supporting the system.
Yeah, it is. You get to see the one Lewis Hamilton out there showing his
showing you how it's done.
Showing you how it's done. Yeah,
I'm the exact same as you, Tom. It's like racing games are not for me. I'm happy for those who enjoy them, but that's just not my game.
Yeah, we've always been like that. We've always been open and honest about like our thoughts when it comes to games. It's brilliant we're getting new titles, but again, if it's not for us, we're going to say why. Yeah. Moving swiftly on.
Swiftly on as they fly past us in the McLarens and Ferraris, we move on to some sweet updates for the pro deals that have arrived this week. We did label some of them last week. We had some games come across, but they've added a couple more on, most likely because they've seen a massive
hold on, Chris. Hold on. Yeah. Let me just get my money out ready. What are the pro deals, Chris?
Pro deals are, Tom, Borderlands 3, has been knocked down to £25.
I've already bought that.
You already own that. I already bought that. Rise of the Tomb Raider 20th year celebration down from 25.
I've already bought that.
Okay, Tom, how about this one? We've got Shadow of the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition down from $49.99 to £16.50.
Wasn't that a pro game at one point?
Not that one.
I've already got it.
I've already got it.
You bought it in the
Sorry,
last
guys.
deal.
Sorry, I jest. Great. Yeah, great.
No.
Cool.
Richie, you bought that in the last deal, correct? The last pro deal.
I've got all three of them. I can't remember which ones I got for pro and which ones I got on the sale.
Yeah. I think they've done them in order. So definitive edition, the one with, again, youtube.com/Sounds of Stadia. There is a definitive playthrough. All 12 episodes are now live, where Tom kills many, many animals. Yeah. But yes, then I think second pro deal to go on, or the second free pro game. Was
I'm sure
they skipped
the second one. I'm sure, and had the Shadow come out.
we had discussions before to say they skipped the second one to sort of force you to buy it.
That was on the previous pro deals, right? And that's when you bought the third one, Richie. Because I don't own the third one, the final one, which means I've not been free games.
Right.
I'd been
Let us know in the comments.
I'd be intrigued to know if the deal for Shadow of the Tomb Raider is cheaper now or the same price as when Richie bought it. Because imagine if you bought it for 20 quid, and then this now pro deal a month later is now 16. Again, I suppose prices depreciate.
You haven't actually played it yet.
Well, that's it.
It's just sitting there. It's just waiting. It's just waiting for the sweet spot.
Sat waiting.
Yeah.
And we got some, obviously, the existing deals from last week. Kine is still down at £10, or your equivalent local currency. Red Dead Redemption is still sat wavering at that £40 odd, 45, 47 mark. Still not cheap enough for me. Great, amazing game, don't get me wrong, but it's not much of a deal. It's still full price to me. And then once again, coming in at the bottom is Tomb Raider Definitive Edition for £8. But why pay £8 when you can go watch us play it for free over on youtube.com? So go check that out. And Tom, you've obviously already got that game as well.
Yeah. Oh, I should also say as well. No, please do support the system. Please do support the system. Chris jests. Yeah. Please do purchase the game and support the system. But yeah, definitely check out the video. Support us and check out the video as well. It's all there.
Check out the video, and if you enjoy it,
watch our full thing. And then continue yourself with Tomb Raider 2 and 3.
We did give you achievement guides within that video, so, you know.
That is right. It's under the bridge.
Yeah.
Always look under the bridge.
Behind the waterfall. Always look behind the waterfall.
And it's the orange crab?
Yeah.
Fifi.
There's no achievement for shooting.
There is no achievement for getting a seagull in the box.
Yeah.
Seagull in the box. Sounds like a football reference.
But you should do it anyway.
Soccer reference. Seagull in the box, crosses in from the right. And
is that Steven Seagal?
Steven Seagal, yeah, that is exactly what it is. And final story of the week, just to wrap up on this, we've got two stories, I suppose, depends how big you want to make one. Gamescom has gone digital. Not that big of a surprise. We won't go too much into it. Just like every other real-life event, takes place in Cologne, Germany. Germany's government have put a lockdown on any large group gatherings until August 31st. Gamescom generally takes place late summer. I think it is actually August time. So once again, they're going to go digital with that one. It's no surprise because Gamescom is like the biggest global event, I think, in terms of like population condensed into one giant arena.
It's Europe's hugest gaming convention as well, isn't it? So
yeah, and hopefully one day we'll all go along and see you out there representing the Stadia in some capacity. But yeah, not much more to say on that. We expected it. It was inevitable, but now, as with everything, they're going to make it.
It's just official.
The surprise is that it took this long to make it official.
Yeah, I think because it was in August, I think they were just holding off, just like we are on our summer holiday plans and everything else. We're just holding off that it's all going to...
Banking that money. Yeah. For those sweet AAA releases.
And final story, really small one, but we've got some more Stadia support over on mobile devices. We have the OnePlus 8, which is the weirdest name to call a mobile device, because the brand is OnePlus, but then this is 8, so is that not 9?
1 plus 8 equals 9. Yes. Quick maths.
I've never even heard of this brand of phone.
It's a Chinese brand, much like Huawei and a couple of the other ones that have had a massive surge with the rise of Android and affordability. They've managed to pack some amazing specifications into a couple of their last generation devices. and getting it out to the markets, especially in Europe. They've kind of like clamored for this because it just comes with some power under the hood, but without that kind of Apple iOS price tag attached to it or associated to it.
Basically, what they've realised, some Chinese manufacturers who are actually making your Sony, your Samsung, your Apple phones, and realised, why don't we just do that ourselves? We have the capabilities.
Yeah, exactly that. And without going too much into it, it looks like a traditional modern smartphone. It's got a lovely, bright, colourful rectangle AMOLED LED screen, amazing triple lens camera, all the kind of features to talk about. But more importantly, to us, it plays Stadia out the box with support. So this is a brand new device which is going to support it going forward. So no delays. And no doubt this is going to happen across the board with every new future Android release. You've got to imagine Google, when they drop that Android software onto it, one of the caveats in the terms and conditions has got to be it needs to come with Stadia pre-installed in some way, shape, or form. That's surely just going to, every Android phone that's sold is just going to drive people to, what's this icon on my phone? Test it out, try Stadia for free. Bang, it just works on my device.
Yeah, we already talked a little bit about almost splintering off the games from the Play Store into the Stadia app. And then go, okay, now if you want to play games on the Android, you go through the Stadia app. So it gets you into that ecosystem naturally.
Definitely.
Naturally.
Yeah. And that might be the 450 games. All of them Angry Birds.
Jetpack Joyride.
Yeah.
Bring back my boy.
Birds. The other is Raid Shadow Legend.
Yeah.
Fruit Ninja.
Clash of Cans. War of Worlds.
Clash of Cans?
Clash of Cans and Clash of Clans.
Sounds like a drinking game, that one.
Yeah.
This is the beer
drinking games, that gives us a wrap on this week's show. That is all in Stadia news and gaming stories we've got for you this week. The reason I mentioned cans there is because next week we have the Stadia Super Saturday Part 2, the sequel, the one and only, coming to you next Saturday from everybody across the Stadia content creators globe. As I mentioned, kicks off at 10 a.m. with Dan over on Stadia Source, introducing the day. No doubt laying out the timeline and all the content that we've got to bring you. We're going to lock in our plans and come up with some amazing fun ideas that you get to enjoy next week. So stay tuned for that. We'll no doubt be sharing a drink or two on camera, as our time slot is a little bit later in the day than some people. So join us for a cheeky nightcap as we play some games using the power of Stadia. And finally, we've got one more note to put in there for our future plans. With the Tomb Raider series now being over, the grand finale, you may have heard of it. We've mentioned it once or twice on this show. Richie, you've been cooking up a little surprise or a little exciting journey that you want to share with the world.
Yeah, so because Tomb Raider's gone, it's done, complete. We needed a new game to put in that slot, so I did a Let's Play of Lost Words Beyond the Page.
Ooh.
So that will be taking the Tomb Raider slot, so 8 o'clock on Saturday morning, next Saturday. So
fantastic.
So does Richie in fact go beyond the page with a glass of wine?
I do have a glass of wine.
I did check that out.
Actually, no, Chris, I have a bottle of wine.
So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Shit's going to get real.
But I recorded it in two main sittings, so that the first half of the series, I'll probably be getting progressively more drunk because I opened a bottle of red as a start and then drank the whole thing. And when I ran out of wine, that's when I knew it was time to stop playing.
So that should be a reason alone for you to check it out. Watch Richie's descent into alcoholism.
And there's a few things I've noticed as I've been editing it. It's because I didn't have any lights on. I didn't notice. So my camera gets slowly darker and darker as the game goes on. I think at one point I did notice and switched the lights on, but...
Good. But yeah, so check Richie out. That obviously we know it's an amazing narrative-driven game. I think right at the beginning of the video, Richie, you're actually quoting, so let's get emotional. So join Richie next Saturday, replacing the Tomb Raider time slot for our Lost Words Beyond the Play Let's Play. We've got a couple of episodes that are just going to drop into that. Obviously, we are working hard behind the scenes to try and pull this content together, but we all know with the restrictions of us being able to collaborate and work in person, it does limit us to what we can do in terms of Let's Plays. But we have got some great plans, and hopefully once all the isolation's lifted, we'll get back to our regular scheduled programming. Final note from me is don't forget to check out our Twitter page, twitter.com/Sounds of Stadia. Check out our Facebook community page, actually. It's not something we've been pushing as much, but it gives you all a good opportunity to comment and discuss things when we post things online. And just keep that conversation going. Don't forget, we've also got our Patreon page, patreon.com/Sounds of Stadia, where you can tune in, check out, subscribe at the entry-level tier, which is 78 pence, or just $1 to you Americans across the pond. We really do appreciate all the support over there, and it gives you some great exclusive chats like we did with Ashi last night. We had a couple of drinks, we had a good chat about all things Stadia, Premier Editions, future plans, and we are going to be putting more content out there as well going forward into the future. Tom's got a cooking show theory that we're running. We're going to talk about random maybe Stadia-centric things, such as our favourite Assassins and the Assassin's Creed thing. There's plenty of hobbies and things that we do outside of the Stadia world that you can jump in and chat with us about and get to know each other as well.
Got some great stuff lined up.
If you've got ideas of what you would like from our Patreon, let us know.
Yeah, 100% let us know. Reach out, get in touch. We really do appreciate it. And thank you again to everyone who's tuned in on YouTube and watched us over the last couple of weeks as we've made the switch to video. Hopefully you enjoy it and you're jumping on board with us for this amazing journey that we're taking part in. So finally, once from me is stay safe, wash your hands, say hello to your loved ones as usual. Thank you for watching us this week for episode 30 of the Sounds of Stadia podcast. My name's been Chris.
I've been Tom.
I've been Richie.
We've been Sounds of Stadia. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.